How did this happen? Title screen's an important part of basically every single game ever made. They do more than you might initially think, and they're pretty important. A title screen needs to do multiple things, mainly set up the tone of the game, represent the experience you're about to play, and of course, look good. Frontiers does almost 2 of these. I jest. I will say that this screen does a decent job of actually representing the game and matching its tone. The somber, melancholic music in the background, the overall atmosphere of the screen, and everything seems to be checking the boxes. Except for one simple thing. It doesn't look very good. You see, a lot of people will think the downsides of this screen comes from the fact that there's a lot of empty space off to the side. You see, I half agree here. I think empty space like this is usually a great opportunity. Take the title screen of Spider-Man PS4, for example. It is painfully simple. But within the empty space, there's a beautiful shot of Spider-Man looking out at the city. This title screen is supposed to be an art piece. It's supposed to be profound. They made this empty space with the intention of it being filled up with this piece of art. The fact that only 20% or less of the screen is actually a menu isn't a problem because, well, title screens are simple. Putting what is essentially an art piece in this empty space is a good idea for title screens as simple as this. The problem occurs with what you choose to do with this empty space, and that's where Frontier's title screen falls flat. We get this very boring composition of a cloudy sky, and while I'd say it does a somewhat decent job at foreshadowing the inciting incident and the stormy clouds present throughout the game, it's not enough. It's boring, too simple. If they wanted to do a purely environmental shot, that's fine. You don't have to have Sonic front and center for this. A big part of Frontiers is its environment, so I get this. But the sky? Man, you're barely paying attention to it. I think the best option here would be to do a slow pan forward of a few islands, or just Kronos if you want to be a stingy little bitch. Sorta like some of the trailers for this game did. Now, that would be much more interesting and do a better job at encapsulating the vibe of this game than just dark clouds. What we're left with is a title screen that, while technically, yes, it does capture the tone of the game, it could do so much more. Before I continue, if you do enjoy, please like and subscribe, hit the bell for all that bullshit. Also, join my Discord server, I'm pretty active in there, and give updates on future content. And finally, give me money on Patreon, link in the description as well. Sonic title screens used to have class, man. They used to be really good, and well, most of the time, they are, actually. I think Frontiers is just a dud. Starting all the way back with the classics though, Sonic 1's title screen is absolutely iconic, and for good reason. This screen does a perfect job at setting the scene for the entire... okay, the first zone, but you get what I mean. Sonic is front and center in the middle of this beautiful emblem with his cocky attitude instantly telling you, Mario, who? This guy fucks, and he fucks with sass. And the panning landscape shot in the back with all the greenery is both a great visual and great motivation piece for the player. All this beautiful nature is in danger, and we gotta save it. This screen does a great job at representing what the games are about, setting the tone of it, and most importantly, it looks gorgeous. The rest of the classics would all follow this format, which makes them a little more boring to talk about, but they all stand out pretty well on their own and have their own merits. Sonic 2 is pretty much another Sonic 1, but that's fine because it just gave the opportunity to look even better, which I think Sonic 2 definitely looks better. Superstars is boring. CD is fine, although I think having the landscape shot be inside of a little planet would be way more impactful. We just see it as the background here, and while I get why they did this, it transitions more smoothly into the intro this way, I think having it actually be inside Little Planet would better represent the game in its entirety and be a cooler visual all around. Sonic 3 is more the same, but again, not a bad thing at all. It looks really nice and puts a bigger focus on Angel Island. Although Sonic & Knuckles does something a bit different as it's picking up right where Sonic 3 ended. It actually starts with a small animation of the Death Egg crashing down, followed by the descent of titular Sonic and Knuckles from Sonic & Knuckles. It looks really nice. They might look like cannibals with this 3D, not 3D trickery they're trying to play, but that's fine. Sonic Mania is perfect. Our transition to 3D is actually really damn good here. Sonic Adventure's title screen has always stood out to me. While I have my gripes with the logo, which is pretty front and center, it meshes perfectly with the background. This background is so damn sexy. It shows both Station Square and the ruins, two key parts of the game, with this nice shot of the sky behind them. Covering all this is this sleek water ripple effect representing... take a guess. And man, I am in love with this visual. Everything here works together so well to make this coherent, beautiful art piece that represents everything about Sonic Adventure, all tied in the middle with the logo. I love it. Sonic Adventure DX. Tried. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, specifically, is another great title screen. It seems like most of these title screens are actually really consistently good. I'd say this title screen does a worse job at representing the overall game and its tone. Yeah, well, the character's scrolling up in the background, which I suppose represents the hero in dark contrast well enough, but it is kind of the bare minimum. I'm actually here revising the script, and the more I think about it, the more this is a strange nitpick. This does a decent job at representing the game. What else could they have really done? I'm letting it all slide, though, just because of how damn good this thing looks. The logo front and center, the music blaring at us, all these characters scrolling in the background, these sick-looking fucking circles float up in the background. I have no idea if it even represents anything, but goddamn, it looks so good. The colors in this whole thing, though, my lord. These blues and reds and pinks, they all work together so well. I love it so fucking much. And the blinking press start icon with that sexy, sleek SA2 font, it's great. SA1 is still better in my opinion. I think it's a little more coherent, but this is pretty neck and neck. Sonic Heroes title screen is pretty, alright. Most of the representation of this game is done by the logo, as the actual background is literally just the sky, which, don't get me wrong, looks really nice, but it's just not enough. The tone is set really well because of the song in the background and the cheery, bright blue sky, but again, it kind of just does the bare minimum. A lot of the heavy lifting is just being done with the logo. I can't really hate it much though, because it still looks really nice. There's just not much to talk about. Shadow the Hedgehog's title screen is fine. It's not horrible, but it's certainly not impressive. Trying too hard to be edgy makes this thing look really, really boring. It's just dark colors and drab grays. It's so nothing. I think the text in the background is kind of neat, to be honest, but that's about it. You know, as I'm writing this, I'm starting to realize how much my thoughts on these title screens coincide with my thoughts on all of these Sonic logos. I seem to kind of have the exact same thoughts on them as I do the logos, and I think that's kind of neat. And it kind of makes sense when you think about it. A lot of these titles have the logos front and center, so naturally, a lot of these title screens and backgrounds need to be made around these logos. So often, these title screens seem to be extensions of the actual logos in a way, which I think is pretty neat. Sonic 06, oh, this one's good. This is that confidence shit shining through right here. A beautiful backdrop of Kingdom Valley with the logo front and center. Nothing crazy going on, not much movement, just the vegetation being blown around by the wind, but man, that is just fine. The cherry on top is the orchestrated version of his world in the background. It feels profound. It feels like the game's telling you, yeah, I'm hot shit, ready to play some. Ignoring the fact that this game is what it is, it just really can't take away from what the title screen is. I love it. And while I'd say it doesn't totally represent the game crazy well, it's trying to be more modern, sleek, and confident rather than a proper representation of the game. And to be fair, I wouldn't want to represent it either. Unleashed, oh, this one's actually not that crazy. The logo with the stars in the background is boring. I mean, it looks nice, it's sleek for sure, and I'd say it does a nice job at capturing the tone of the game, aided heavily by the music in the background. But honestly, I think the Wii version of this title screen is like a billion times better. We see the Earth at the bottom split in half, and guess what? Everything is split down the middle. Not just the Earth, the day on one side and the night on the other. What a beautiful piece! It lacks subtlety, but like, why'd I write that? Why'd I write that in the script? It lacks subtlety? That is some bullshit. Who gives a fuck about subtlety in Sonic title? That's a stupid fucking lie. This does a perfect job at representing Sonic Unleashed. I don't think I have to explain why. Also, the animation of the beam going down at the start, oh my god, that is so cool. I wish people talked about this. Why does no one talk about it? It's so cool. It gives you a TLDR of the entire inciting incident with the title screen alone. This is perfect. Sonic Colors isn't that crazy, but I can move the camera around, so that's neat. Sonic Generations is really simple, but really good. The whole White Void shtick is represented by the White Void. Sure, the background is ridiculously simple because of this, but that doesn't really detract from the overall screen. It's a callback to the classics first and foremost, both modern and classic Sonic inside the emblem, and man, this emblem looks royal. It looks premium, expensive. This game was only 20 bucks for the longest time. I feel honored. So yes, it's simple, but they had a clear vision for this thing. It doesn't feel empty because, oh, we've got a good excuse to do less work. No, this thing was fully thought out. It doesn't look incomplete in the slightest. It looks like a fully realized vision, which isn't something you could say about a lot of Sonic-related things nowadays. And finally, our latest title screen is Shadow Generations. It's boring, it's fine. It looks alright, but it's just kind of whatever. It sets the tone well, it represents the game decently. I just think the visuals look off. It looks bland to me. I think this shadow render in the middle is just... Why are you there? You don't do this. You don't put the render front and center on the title screen. That's not how it works. Sonic Adventure 2 had them in the background. Multiple characters scrolling up, it doesn't work. It looks fan-made. Again, I mean, it doesn't look bad, but you don't do that. You don't put the character render in front. You don't put... No. No! This could very well just be a me thing I'm aware of, so I'm not gonna hate on it or anything. Okay, at worst, it looks fine. So, again, it's like, it's fine. It doesn't matter. And I'm just realizing I forgot to add in Lost World and Forces, so this is me like 2 days before the video's going up. Lost World's pretty good, if not a little boring. The lost text in the background does represent the game, just not a good, just not a good one. And Forces is very boring and has crazy missed potential. And yeah, that's it. So, what have we learned today when looking at Sonic title screens? Well, to my surprise, pretty much all of them are good. There's not a single one of these I truly hate, even Shadow 05 isn't the worst, to be honest. We also learned that there's a not-so-surprising consistency link between the title screens and the logos. Most of my thoughts on the logos turned out to largely be my thoughts on the title screens. Well, I hope you enjoyed. I know this ending was really fast for some reason. I don't know why I ended it so fast, but whatever. If you enjoyed, I don't have to tell you what to do, but please comment which of the title screens is your favorite. I really like to know. And with that, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.